Every other animal on Earth eats its food raw. Every single one. Yet, if you try to live like them on nothing but raw meat and raw plants, your brain might actually start to starve. You are the only species that outsources its digestion to fire. But why did evolution trade your chewing muscles for a stove? And could you even survive without it? Start with the chimpanzee. A wild chimp spends about 6 hours a day chewing, not eating, chewing, grinding tough leaves and fibrous stems into something small enough to swallow, then waiting for a gut built like a fermentation vat to slowly pull out whatever calories it can. You don't do that. Your entire eating window, most days, adds up to less than an hour. That gap isn't a lifestyle choice, it's a completely different piece of engineering. Here's the problem raw food creates. Plant cell walls are wrapped in cellulose, and no primate, including you, produces the enzyme needed to break it apart efficiently. Raw meat is dense with collagen, a protein that barely responds to your saliva or your stomach acid until something else has already loosened its structure. So raw food, weight for weight, yields far less usable energy than it appears to contain on paper. Your ancestors hit a wall here. A brain is an expensive tissue. A large gut is also expensive tissue. Their bodies could not afford both at once, not on a diet that demanded 6 hours of chewing and returned so little in exchange. Something had to give. The anthropologist Richard Wrangham spent decades investigating what that something was. His answer? Fire became an external stomach. Cooking is thermal processing, and thermal processing is a form of pre-digestion done outside your body before the first bite ever reaches your mouth. Heat breaks collagen down into soft gelatin. It ruptures plant cell walls, releasing starches that were otherwise locked away. It denatures proteins, unfolding their tight structure so your own enzymes can act on them almost instantly. Nutrients that would take your gut hours to extract from raw food become bioavailable to your bloodstream within minutes. The researcher Rachel Carmody tested this directly, feeding animals identical calories in raw and cooked form and measuring exactly how much of it their bodies could actually use. The cooked food groups gained more mass every time, not from eating more, from absorbing more of what they already had. Once fire was doing that work, your anatomy could change to match it. Your teeth started shrinking, your jaw muscles shrank with them. Catherine Link and Daniel Lieberman, working at Harvard, calculated just how much chewing effort this saved. Cooking meat alone cut the number of daily chews by roughly 2,000. Slicing and pounding food before cooking nearly halved total chewing time on top of that. Your gut shortened too, because it no longer needed to be a slow fermentation chamber. The heavy lifting had moved outside your body, into a flame. So where did all that spared energy go? Into your skull. The anthropologists Leslie Aiello and William Peeler proposed what's now called the expensive tissue hypothesis. Their argument is a trade, not a bonus. A large gut and a large brain are both expensive metabolically, and a body can't easily support both at full size. Shrink one, and you free up the energy budget to grow the other. Your gut got smaller, your brain, over roughly 2 million years, nearly tripled in size. That's not a coincidence sitting quietly in the fossil record, that's a transaction. And it kept paying dividends. A brain running on a steady, dense, reliable supply of cooked calories isn't just bigger, it's more capable of sustained high-effort thought. Complex tool use, extended memory, the coordination needed for group hunting and shared child-rearing, all of these draw on exactly the kind of stable, high-energy fuel that raw foraging alone could never guarantee. The surplus didn't just build a bigger brain, it kept that brain running long enough to do something with itself. Which brings you to the uncomfortable part. You are, biologically, dependent on processed food, not culturally, biologically. Modern humans who attempt a strictly raw, wild diet with no cooking of any kind tend to lose weight steadily even when their calorie intake looks sufficient on paper. And women following such diets often see their reproductive cycles disrupted entirely. Your jaw is too weak, your teeth too small, your gut too short to run efficiently on the diet every other primate manages just fine. You are, in a very real sense, the only apex omnivore on the planet that cannot fully sustain itself without altering its food first. That's not a flaw, it's the price of the trade your ancestors made. But the story doesn't end at biology. Once cooking meant sitting still around a flame waiting for food to be ready, something social started happening too. A fire needs tending. Cooked food is best shared while it's still warm, in one place at roughly the same time. Some researchers argue this is where the earliest form of the dinner table was born, long before anyone had a table at all. Foraging is solitary and constant. Feasting around a hearth is scheduled and shared. That shift bought something almost as valuable as calories: leisure. Time that didn't need to be spent chewing or searching could go instead into teaching, storytelling, toolmaking, the slow accumulation of culture across generations. Mastering the flame didn't just change what your ancestors ate, it rewrote the shape of their skulls, the length of their guts, and the size of their families around a fire at night. Every technological leap that followed, every language, every art form, every civilization sits downstream of a decision made almost 2 million years ago to stop eating food exactly as it was found. So tonight, when you heat something up without a second thought, remember what that flame is actually doing. It isn't just making dinner taste better, it's still running the same trade your ancestors made the moment fire became your second stomach and your brain became the beneficiary. Every other animal on Earth eats its food raw. You never really could, not without becoming someone else entirely.